Job security.
This is job security for Victor.
Yeah. Why do you think I'm the only one who could start the webinars, right? Aside from the fact that it costs more to have more people. Just trying to save us money.
All right. We ready?
Yeah.
All right, good deal. I'm going to go ahead and call to order the December 7th Finance Committee meeting for the Arkansas Arts Academy, Howard Owl School.
Nate Fries.
Jeff Honeycutt.
Richard Burrows.
Terry Harrell.
Debbie Zupan.
Bonnie Colville.
Hey, fun.
Hey, Bon.
Hey. Hey.
All right. With that said, I apparently was neglectful last month and didn't get the board minutes or the Finance Committee minutes approved. Have you all had a chance to read through those minutes?
I thought you had.
Yeah.
I thought we had approved the minutes the last time around.
We did, Harold.
Well,
Now
that
we
shows you
just-
how much I can remember from meeting to meeting.
We
All
just
right,
have
have
to
we?
approve the November financials.
Okay, thank you. Has everybody had a chance to review the November financials?
Yep.
Minutes, okay. Any modifications that need to be made to those minutes from that last meeting?
Not from me.
Right. I'll take a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion carries, minutes are approved. All right, has everybody had a chance to review the financials for November?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
Any questions?
Go ahead, Jeff.
Nothing was jumping off the page at me. It's very much tracking with some of the same questions that we had from our meeting in November. So I really didn't have anything new.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to maybe use some of this time for would be just to have, if we don't have any questions or things like that, just overall from Richard's perspective and Bonnie's perspective, how the month went. I do have one question on software. Seems like we didn't have, the last couple months we had pretty low expenses in software. We had almost a $9,000 expense this month. What was that? Was that the Lincoln Learning?
I don't know. It wasn't Lincoln Learning. I think it was some software for the elementary school. And we're trying to spend some of our ESSER funds. And by the way, we got about $2,700 more in that ESSER Cares money.
Cool.
So that's good. And we have until September 2022 to spend all that. But we just got some money in this month. Debbie sent me the deposits for this month, and we just got some of that ESSER money and some of our federal money. So all the work that Terry and Rich and Debbie did trying to get the sam.gov going, we're getting our federal reimbursements. So that's good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, go ahead, Howard.
How are we doing on enrollment?
Hang on, Debbie's pulling it up.
It's about the same as last month.
Okay.
Also, y'all may have noticed on our bills for the month, when we paid Aramark, it seemed to be lower, but remember we talked about how we were going to be able to spend the $7,200 in the special cares funding for food service. We did pay that out of that federal fund, which helps. That $7,200 we didn't have to spend from operating, so.
Yay.
So enrollment is 1,180. That's about where we were last month.
Okay, good deal.
Okay, I'm not really anticipating any changes after the winter holiday, but it really is these days, it seems, a feature of COVID positive increases and whether or not parents pull their children out of school completely. So we'll see in the next 3 to 4 weeks what transpires in terms of COVID testing.
We are expecting a few more at the high school that are starting in January.
I had a question for Bonnie. When you take a look at the top page in the financials, the 2021 projections, our projected June ending balance is up about another $100,000 to $525,000. Are we anticipating between now and June that that's going to continue to grow, or do we have some sense of
I'm trying to figure out which sheet you're looking at, Rich. Because I'm not sure what the board got and what the finance committee.
It was attachment number 2, the 2020-21 projections, and it's just
It's the cover sheet, Bonnie.
yeah.
Would be the end of year balance in June.
Ending year balance shows $525,107.28, which is up from last month, and I was just curious if we had an idea.
Well, I think that is because we were able to spend some more money out of the federal funds than we anticipated. And also that's subject to change because we are hiring some positions, so that's going to fluctuate. So it may go back to about what we thought, but we're going to have to hire I believe a long-term sub, Terry.
Yeah.
And then we're replacing that second grade position.
Okay.
So
Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay.
So Bonnie and Richard, anything from your perspectives that we need to keep in the back of our mind as we?
Yeah, the only thing that Victor and I have had conversations about is that we're catching up on our renewals for a number of maintenance and software, digital kinds of expenses, and some of them are pretty hefty, running around $9,000 or $10,000. And I've moved those particular pieces forward. It's just that it was timely and they were due. Some of them we can actually delay until the end of the year, but just to know that we've sort of reached our apex for needing to renew on the things that keep us lively in terms of our virtual instruction. That's really the only thing at this point. But I think truth being told that until the CARES Act and COVID money runs out, we still can use those monies to pay for those particular expenses. So we're good. I think we're good.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I don't see anything that looks out of line at all. And I'm knocking on wood. My desk is wood, laminate or something. It used to be a tree, I think. But barring any, unexpected expenses, I think things look good.
Yeah.
I feel very good about the budget.
Do we know when we're going to have the audit did we already do it? Sorry.
It's done and they're through. They stayed 5 days in the office and then we're just waiting to see what they say. So
Okay.
I think things went well.
I do too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. They didn't give me any indication about like, no, that's wrong or anything like that. So
They
Okay.
told us to file everything back.
yes, they did. So
So I have a question related to that for Nate and Jeff and Howard. This is really a feature of typically when an audit is completed at this time of year, a nonprofit organization also produces an annual report. And in the past, when I took a look at Mary's annual report, which was produced in November, it was only partial information because it only reflected what had been completed up to about 6 months of the current school year and reported on the year before as the completed annual report. Lately, we've just heard from the Arkansas Department of Education that they're not going to be able to provide us with graduation and statistical rates about student achievement because of COVID, and they don't have a time that they actually can anticipate that particular information being made available. So I have a couple of questions for finance. It doesn't seem likely that we'll be able to produce a 53-page annual report like Mary did last year. An editorial comment about that is, I don't think we need a 53-page annual report. And so I'm going to inquire of you, given that we don't have information from the state at this point, whether or not it might be more fruitful to do an infographic, which is a folded piece that states some of the basic information about what the audit has revealed and information that we know about the organization, so that it's done in December, which is the typical time, and then use it as a cover piece for when we do finally get our information to make it available to our community and to the public. So it's just a query for the finance committee members, if they think that that is a justifiable representation of our work while we're still waiting for information. This would be very easy to produce.
So Richard, from my memory, it seems like we're required to have a public meeting to do an end of year report somewhere along the way. I don't know if Ken or Bonnie know any of that requirement or not, but one of the things we might want to do is ask the ASBA or whoever we report to as far as the activities, find out what is the requirement there and if there are different requirements this year based on COVID.
There used to be a deadline to have it done. It should have been done like by now, but I don't know that it was related to COVID, but now you just have to do it within the school year, I think. So I don't think we're under like a really big time crunch. And by the way, Rich, that looks more like a Mexican food menu to me, or maybe I'm just hungry.
Well, I just want to say that this came from Economic Arkansas, so apparently they were hungry when they did this. So I guess I would propose that I find out if there are any deadlines between now and the board meeting tomorrow, and then in discussion with the board, establish a time where a public meeting can happen for this discussion. Would that be okay, Mark?
I just remember, as far as our charter was concerned, we were required to do a public meeting at some point during the year, and there was a defined format that we needed to follow. I don't know if there was things that were just added in there to do an overall presentation to the parents, but I think you probably do need to validate what needs to be in there versus what doesn't need to be in there.
Okay. So like many things here, I will have to search for that. So I'll try and have that information before the board meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Jeff, Nate, anything else we need to talk about?
We just had one other thing that Terry would like to talk about, which is the new Arkansas minimum wage increases. Right. I think we got this information to you, but Terry is here to talk about it.
Yeah, I sent it by email, but I don't know if you had a chance to look at it. But our vendor is ESS, which is the Education Staffing Solutions. And I got an email from Julie there, and as of January the 1st of 2021, the minimum wage is going up to $11. And right now, for our substitutes that we hire from SubTeach, well, as of January the 1st, we won't meet that $11. So if you look at the current rate right now, we're paying a regular sub that has a high school diploma or GED, $80 a day. With a bachelor's, it's $85. Arkansas certified teacher is $100 a day. We pay an LPN nurse sub for $85 a day and an RN nurse $100 a day. So the required rate for us to meet what we need to January the 1st is going to be $88 a day across the board for all of those. So what we did is we did a competitive rate, which we did the $90 a day for the regular sub, 95 for bachelor's, 110 for Arkansas certified teacher, $95 for an LPN, and $110 for an RN nurse. So that's what we feel it is the competitive rate for those as of January the 1st. So we need to discuss that and then present it to the board to vote on so we can get that change as of January 1st.
Do we have an estimate of the, I hate to put it this way because it's not that it's an impact, but do we have an idea of what that's going to do to the budget?
Are we using many subs?
Well, right now we are using some subs. I don't think it's real high considering COVID, but
I would just say as an average based on historical substitutions, just to know if there's a way to know what it was and versus what it's going to look like when we start using subs at the new rate.
So Terry can look at that tomorrow morning.
yeah.
And in the board discussion tomorrow evening, we can say what the comparisons are. I think the only red herring in this conversation at this point is not knowing what the COVID rates are going to be after January 1 and the impact. But it looks like, what is our current rate, $10 a day or $10 an hour?
Yes.
So it's really only a $1 increase to meet the required amount. And we're just proposing that in order for us to stay competitive, because subs are hard to come by these days, is we're just adding a couple of more dollars to that. So at a maximum, it would be $3 more an hour.
Yeah, and it only affects that one or two of them, which would take them to $88. The others could be left alone if that's what the board decided, but Bonnie and I'll look at the comparison tomorrow.
I think one of the
And
examples.
that's a daily rate. That's not an hourly rate. It wouldn't be $3 more an hour.
Right.
It'd just be $3 more a day.
I'm sorry, you're correct. You're
Mhm.
correct. Yeah.
It just seems
Or
that
five.
it seems for some period of time, we were having a large number of substitutes and I just wanted to make
Yes.
sure it wasn't going to be an overall impact.
Yeah, we're pretty close to being fully hired now, only using long-term subs if there is a new position that needs to fill a particular grade level. When we come to next year's budget, we'll analyze what our actual needs are for full-time equivalents and can take a look at that. But I should mention that both of our school nurses are out with COVID and COVID-related illness. They'll be back maybe around the 14th or so, if things go well. But we would have been unable to even locate a single nurse through the sub programs because our rate of infection is hovering a little less than 5%. But in Rogers Public Schools and Bentonville schools, it's 15%. And so finding nurses has been pretty tough.
So, quick question: where are we getting our the data that we're using for determining the average salary or the average wage for some of these people? Where are we gathering that data? Because I'm just looking, it's $110 a day for a nurse. Is that what we're saying?
Well,
That's $15 an hour. I mean, that's a very, very small rate for an RN.
yeah, well, that rate that we're currently, our current rate, that's set by our school district. So I'm assuming that when the rates changed previously, the hourly rate, then we made, these are the rates that we set. So I don't know where they got the rates, but that's, because when I talked to Julie, she said it's each school district that sets those rates. All they do is make sure we're going by the minimum wage.
And
Obviously,
Terry,
it's going to play a factor in trying to find those substitute staff. If we're only paying them $15 an hour, and in a time where nurses are in high demand, you're not going to find them.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Is it more close to $25 an hour, you think?
It depends on the specialty, but yes, I'd say you could. That would be a conservative estimate for for someone who has a little bit of experience. That's a conservative estimate in just generic specialty.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's really good to know. Bonnie, what did you have to say?
I was just going to say, there may be some people who, given the circumstances with COVID, are just maybe unwilling to come into a school district too. So,
Yeah, yeah.
That's very true.
Sure.
The only, to answer Jeff's question, historically, we've tried to align ourselves with the other school districts in the area. So it would be interesting to find out what their rates are compared to ours. I'm not saying it doesn't need to be 25. I'm just thinking we aligned ourselves with the other school districts at some point.
Fascinating, Howard, that the Rogers Public Schools is also in the same desperate situation for nurses. So I think there are many nurses who are electing not to be in schools because they're places that they're fearful of at this particular point. I did inquire of the mayor of the city of Rogers and the opportunity to work with the fire department in accessing their paramedics to work in our district as a substitute until such time. And the mayor was very nice in his response, and so was the fire chief. He said, we have nobody. Every single person is already allocated to schools that are already in dire need of school nurses. So I think we're probably in for a long haul.
Yeah.
Even if we paid a higher rate, we still might not find anybody.
right.
And Bentonville's going through the same thing, because I talked to the head RN there, and they're feeling the pain too.
I'm the nurse Friday at the high school.
So what is it that you're going to take a look at? You're going to take a look at.
I'm gonna look at the comparison,
Oh,
and then I'm
the other
gonna
school
look at
district.
the other school districts.
All right, so we'll have that before tomorrow.
And by no means, Jeff has a valid point. We just need to make sure we're aligned with what's going to give us the best solution for the short term and the long term. But man, to your point, Richard, I think it is going to be hard to find somebody.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone have anything else we need to talk about?
Nope.
All right. I appreciate everybody's time, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So made.
In a second.
Second.
All right. Y'all have a good one.
Thank
Yeah.
you.